I teach in a small school in a small rural district, and I want to share why I personally do not believe that consolidating school districts into one larger conglomerate district is going to lead to positive outcomes for students, the community, and why I don't even think it'll necessarily save money. In other words, it won't make things more efficient. Link in the description below that actually backs this up with some in-depth studies. And I also love to hear your comments because I'm sure there's some incidences where consolidating schools might have some benefits. One of the biggest reasons there's so much problems and inefficiency in public schools now is this huge disconnect between those in the actual classroom and those putting out the mandates for what needs to happen in that classroom. These mandates are created in large systems because there isn't really time to authentically know what is happening. So observers will come in and look for I can statements and spend very little time checking boxes of these kind of things that supposedly represent success, right? And that's because they're trying to manage large numbers of people in a system. You are basically a number. You are basically a problem to be dealt with as quickly and as efficiently as possible in a larger system. The number one thing that really helps a teacher is having a small enough class to have a meaningful connection with each student, to know what each student kind of needs, and enough time to work with those students and give meaningful feedback. So the larger the class size gets, the decrease in meaningful instruction happens. Well, similarly, the larger a district gets, the admins and the folks at the district offices have even less time to really get an authentic understanding of what actually helps or hurts in that classroom. So there's a ton of waste that gets generated. And one reason that I really enjoy working in a small district is you're able to communicate with your administrators, and you're even able to communicate here with your superintendent, who does an excellent job getting back to teachers when teachers have things come up and have insights. What results from that is the ability to get rid of things that are getting in the teacher's way of helping the students, and to have more things in place for that teacher to feel supported. Now that creates huge efficiencies, and this is easier to achieve in smaller districts. So what larger districts end up having to do is just stick with identical. We're going to ensure everyone gets the exact same results by doing the exact same thing, the exact same way, at the exact same time. That's identical. And identical does not equal meaningful uniformity. We can become very efficient and be very miserable. We can be busy all the time, but never productive. And we have the power and the tools and the resources to build the type of future we want, but we have to do it with purpose, with meaning, not just to be efficient, but meaningful efficiency that translate into living a better life with more value in enjoying being alive with the life we found ourselves to live on the only planet in the whole universe we know that has life on it in greens and blues. So come on. What are we doing with our time here? Let's not just make it all about being efficient. Let's be sure if we're saving money to create better lives and outcomes for everybody. And I'm sure there's some situations in some districts that would probably work out well, and has, but as the studies show, we've kind of reached a limit. And if anything, sometimes deconsolidations, sometimes having smaller districts, smaller schools, and smaller classes actually leads to much better outcomes for those in the system, much better society overall, and can even save a lot of money. Cool vibe.
Together we learn, together we grow, together we heal, together we flow. Be cool, every teacher, every school. Be cool, every teacher, every school. Be cool, every teacher, every school.